What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Phase 6, your source for music, business, motivation, and support. It's your boy, Sirr Love. We're continuing on with the last topic. There was a part 1. This is a part 2, where in the last series, we talked about what are music industry points. In this particular video, we're going to talk about negotiating your points and understanding how points work. It's one thing to know what something is and who is allowed to get them, which we talked about before. You need to know that before you see this. In this particular video, we're going to talk about how you go about dealing with points, how you can psychologically think about points and position yourself for points, how to negotiate points. I'm going to keep it high level. I want to give you the fundamental principles and keys so that you can go forward and do your thing. Let's jump into it. All right, bet. Look, we're going to jump straight into this, and I'm going to go in a similar order that I went through before when I talked about, artists, producers, songwriters, whatever. We're going to go in a similar order this particular time, and I'm going to talk about the negotiation of points. So the one area that there has been a huge amount of change in, or there's been a lot of changes associated with how artists are getting their points. There was a time period where this thing was standardized. It is not standardized anymore. If anyone is telling you the standard, if anyone even says, this is standard practice to you, that's BS, right? There are some things that are standard, but once you cross a certain threshold in this game, anything goes. It becomes the wild, wild west, all right? A lot of the things that I tell you guys to start with are just starting standards that everyone uses at the beginning, but everything evolves. And right now, this has completely evolved for everyone right now, and that is points. Why? Historically, at a previous time, artists were normally entitled to 2 to 5 points. At some point, artists were starting to get 10 points. It was really exciting. Remember, points are a percentage on sales. That means if $1 million was made and an artist had 10 points, that artist was getting $100,000 off of those sales just as an artist fee, as an artist royalty to that artist. The label would still have to turn around and pay mechanical royalties out on that, boom, and then the label would be able to retain the rest. Now, also remember, out of that $100,000 that the artist did receive, they have to pay the label back for any money that the label had spent, which are called recoupables. We've talked about this on a bunch of different shows. So then the artist has to pay out all those people. They have to pay the producers for the beats. They got to pay for the marketing. They have to pay for whatever. And out of that $100,000, they keep whatever. Now, you're sitting here going, oh my God, my money is gone. But recognize that $100,000 back in the day, for you to make that $100,000, that means you sold 10,000. That means you sold 1 million copies. 1 million copies was 100,000. If you're only selling 100,000 and you have a major record label behind you, you flopped, right? So these numbers were exponentially higher. People were going platinum, double platinum, triple platinum, gold, whatever. Obviously, there's more money around. There's more availability for you to pay your expenses. But we all know what labels have done, the evil, treacherous past, right? Today, that's different because of 360s. Something else that has a very negative view, but 360s have also helped artists get a lot more out of the deal. Because of the 360, artists are no longer getting 10%, 5%, 2%. Artists are able to negotiate 30% out of their artist royalty because labels are coming in and taking some of the show money. It's really crazy because you're going to watch, I guarantee you guys, live a little, we're going to watch the concept of the 360 degree and the viewpoint of it switch over time. Because the reason 360 was so negative is because labels were losing money, right? So they started signing artists and taking their show money. And everyone said, oh, this is wrong, you're taking my show money. But labels said, we'll give you more of this money over here. But the artist was saying, ain't no money coming over there. But now you're signed in this 5-6 year contract or however many album contract, and the tides are starting to switch. Now streaming numbers are shooting up and you have a larger percentage on this side. You're starting to get those bigger checks and labels are going, wait a second, we thought we were screwing you out of your show money, but now we got to give up some of this streaming money, and this streaming money starting to look real good. So at the end of the day, what the 360 did was evened everything out. If you have a JV, you have like a 50-50 thing going on. Depending on your deal, your royalties can be a lot higher. There are artists that are getting up to 50% of the artist royalty. There are artists that are getting higher. At some point, it becomes, a bad idea for a label or for anybody, for an investor, for anyone to work with you because they need to be making a percentage themselves in order to be a profitable business. So recognize that, you're not supposed to get 100%. Everyone has to get paid that's involved in the process, right? That's why the rest of this list has a whole bunch of other people that are supposed to get points as well. So let's move on to who else is getting points. Producers are getting points. So artists, you negotiate your points in your record deal, in your record contract, your producer, if you do a production deal or a label deal or whatever type of deal you do, whether you do it to yourself, whether you sign to a small company, large company, that's when you negotiate your points. They're in the contract listed as an artist royalty. For producers, you guys get to negotiate your points as follows. It's still kind of common practice to say, hey, 2 to 5% for your track. Now, a lot of times producers will say, yo, I want 2% of the whole album because I got the single. So I want 2% of the album. I want 5% of the record, right? That's not a crazy ask if you established producer and you're doing your thing, you're having a huge impact. Recognize there's 10 songs on the album, right? Everyone's greedy. Everyone wants what they can, the most of what they can have. There's producers, there's writers, there's the artists. Like everyone wants a percentage of this money. So you can't sit here and say, yo, I want 10% of the album because I'm the dopest producer, this, that, and the third. Then the songwriter wants this, the artist wants. At some point, the label's like, we're not going to put your songs on the album because if we do, we won't make any money, right? So you have to recognize there's a business balance here. So if you're getting 1 to 5%, that is a win for you. If you did the whole album, now you can extend your points and start asking for more points on an album standpoint. A lot of times you're only going to get awarded points on the record that you did. If it's solely the record that you did, you do have some leeway to maybe go over 5% or 5 points, but it's really going to differ depending on, how big of a producer you are. How much value does your name add to the record? We don't care how dope the beat is. We can get a dope beat from anybody, but having your name associated with the beat, does that increase radio plays? Does that get the increased DJ spinning in the clubs? What is your team going to do from a marketing standpoint that's going to help increase the value of the record? The beat being dope has nothing to do with the business of how the money is going to be distributed. The beat being dope is where your royalties come in. If you're talking points, that means your value as a business adds value to the record. That's also going to go for my songwriters. Same thing is true. Songwriters, you need to be negotiating points. It's about the exact same as the producer. There's really no big difference. You're talking 1 to 5 points. You might get half a point. You might get whatever, you're trying to get that on the most points you can on the song that you did. And you're trying to get a few points on the album itself. Because if you get a few points on the album itself, you're eating off the whole album. It's normally easier to do that if you have the single. If you have a song that's out in obscurity that's just on the album and, people might like it, they might not. It's going to be hard for you to get album points because at the end of the day, they can just kick you off the album. Because if I'm a business and I'm sitting here thinking, how do I keep as much money in my pocket as possible? And I start looking at the business of everything, I might go, I really like this song. This song is really important for the album. It really brings the album home. It's great for the messaging. But if I take this song off, I make 3% more. 3% of an album going platinum. I start doing the math, realizing how much money I can put in my back pocket, start realizing that Christmas is going to be great for my kids. If I kick you off, you are off the project. All right. So recognize that there's a business to this as well. All right. Next, engineers. Engineers is really the wild, wild west right now. The more the artist is dependent on you, the more you can take from the situation. A lot of times the label might not want to give you what they want to give you as an engineer, but the artist will turn around and give you a piece of their points because they recognize your importance on the record, right? They know there's certain engineers that without this engineer, I don't sound like me anymore, right? There's some artists that I could list that are definitely like that, and their engineers get paid a great fee. And a lot of times those artists become successful. They give those engineers points, they give those engineers a salary, they take care of those engineers because they know I don't sound like me without you, right? And as long as you can keep this between us, we're good. Anytime they do a feature, they give it to their engineer and their engineer sends it over with all the effects already on it. The people that get the feature don't even hear what you originally sound like because that's how tight they keep it. Engineers are very important today. Get your points. If you're an engineer and you're doing extensive work, not if you're just mixing and mastering, that's your job. But if you're really going in and doing a whole lot to make an artist that can't sing sound like they can sing, a rapper sound like they can sing, then bro, get your points. All right. A&Rs, you guys already know what's going on. I don't have to tell you any of this. If I do have to tell you this, then you're not necessarily an active A&R in the space. What I would suggest to you is to attempt to get points off the project so that, you can eat off of the work that you're doing. If you're at a point where you're not getting points and you're not getting paid, then you're really working for free. What you're doing is called an internship. If you don't want to be an intern, get some points. If the only thing you're doing is intern and get some points. At minimum, get some points, all right? Future executives, the exact same thing, get some points. Managers, you guys can get some points. Anyone else from the business side, everyone can go for points, but recognize the more hands in the pot, the less money that whatever label is pushing it, even if you are the label. Whoever is got people sticking their hands in there is going to feel like you're robbing me, and they're going to negotiate and do their business based off that, and they're going to be trying to take as many hands out their pot as they can. This is the reason why it's so hard to get placements, because a lot of times the person that owns the pot will say, I'm working with you, you, and you. This is how we're going to do the points. This is just what it is. You're going to do the whole project, and I have less people I have to pay out because we have an agreement and it's done. That's the reason that happens. That's the reason why you can't get your placement, because people don't want to split up the money. Or they'll tell you, yeah, I want to place you on this album, but you need to sign to me first. You'll probably see that a lot, especially producers, songwriters. You'll see artists trying to sign you because they don't want to divvy up the points, or because they know it's easier to bring you in a situation under them than as an extra component, because the label will bully you and they might have to protect you by putting you underneath them. The politics of this crap gets crazy, but this is how you guys negotiate your points. This is what you should be thinking long term. Hopefully this video helps prevent you guys from going in there asking for crazy, ridiculous percentages, because you're like, I did half the song, I want 50%. And you would have been in there acting crazy and getting kicked out, and people would never want to talk to you again, because really you asking for 2 is a great place to start. All right? So I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot. I'm trying to help you guys out and give you everything that I got. This video right here is definitely going to be on my top 10 list of secret gems in this particular platform or this particular channel, because people don't talk about this, and a lot of people don't know what it is. And if you're watching this video, you just got some real game. This is me being 100. I'm not even thinking. Now I'm thinking about it like, damn, I remember how long it took me to find out what the fuck points are. And now you know. So support us. Go to www.facevi.com. Become a member of the platform, because we give away way deeper game on the platform. Where if the membership hasn't launched yet when you're watching this, then stay tuned. Become a member. It's about to be crazy. We're going to do some cool things. I'm really excited about this year. And make sure that you like, subscribe. We need more subscribers. Hit the subscribe button. Tell your friends about us. You don't got to post us on your main page, but share it in the DM. Let people know we exist out here. So I don't know everything, but I know a lot about a little and a little bit about a lot. And I'm always trying to give you guys everything that I got right here on Phase 6. I appreciate your time. Text me, email me, reach out. Let me know if I can help. I'm out.